like to increase awareness of? Why do you think it's underutilized, and under what circumstances would you want to use this forage crop?
Can we finish the certification question?
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, I don't know if you'd get we were talking about a plant, I don't think you're gonna get a seed certificate, because you're gonna have, if there's 30 different plants in there, you literally have to have 30 different.
Yeah, I realize that, but we have a hard time getting anything sometimes from guys, or from the seed retailers, not necessarily the companies, but some of the retailers, some of the companies do.
Well, should it almost be on, like, printed on every bag?
It'll be say common number 1 or certified number 1. But
Common.
Common.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's not the blue tag
You're not
CSG
gonna get it.
pedigreed system.
But they still would have to provide, they could still provide. the
By law,
farmers.
no, I don't think you have to, right? If you want it, you can get it, but common seed is different.
As long as it has a number 1 in front of it, you should be able to go with certificate.
It's graded, yeah, but that
each
doesn't mean that
component.
they have to provide a certificate. Correct me if I'm wrong. If it's not inspected, they don't need to have a
Yeah,
certificate.
it's common.
But number 1,
That's graded.
graded,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's not your German purity.
All 4-H seeds should have a seed certificate, whether it's common, whether it's certified, whether it's foundation.
Yeah.
It should all have a seed certificate. And the reason some people are not providing the seed, the seed certificates is they don't look pretty. And you're buying stuff that you don't realize you're buying. And in some cases, you're buying stuff that you never had on your farm before. I know where to stop here, and we're gonna keep going. I'm gonna give you the presentation in a few minutes, on seed certificates themselves, and it'll make it a little clearer. I think that's the best way to go for this.
As a producer though, like this year, we just cleaned up a bunch of old seed that we had, like, so we had, say we had a quarter. Well, I had seed that we were just cleaning up bags, but yeah, they were all clover seed. We knew it was all good, but there was no seed tags on, some of that stuff was from the 90s. So like, I'm just selling it as common. Well, the guy that's buying it, he's not getting any seed tags, but again, it's just common seed, it's not foundation or certified.
But you're not selling this common number 1, right? It's number 1 first, and it's got a number 1 or number 2 graded. You need a seed certificate. There has to be a seed certificate for it to get the grade. Correct?
Well, as a producer, I'm not sure because it's just, we just got a price, it's just common red clover, common sweet clover, common alsike.
But if we go to the weed, if we go to the seed duct, or whatever the act is, and number 1 has a minimum or maximum amount of primary noxious weeds, secondary noxious weeds, nuisance.
Right,
Not to
it's
just-
still,
That's what I'm saying. So if somebody's gonna sell it, like our program requires common number 1 or certified number 1. So I either need to have that seed tag showing it's got parameters, or I need a seed analysis, a seed certificate that shows that it's meeting those parameters.
Okay, good.
You done? Everyone done with that one?
yeah.
Go ahead, Hillary, sorry about that.
Sorry. So the question was, one forage crop that you think is underutilized, and what circumstances do you think it would address, or it could be used for?
One of the species that I think is underutilized is Sizer milkpitch. For lots of people, it doesn't germinate and establish quick enough, and so they'll tear it up before they have a field. But if you give it time, like I said with some guys, you go fishing for a little while and come back and it'll be there. It lives indefinitely. It lives indefinitely. In fact, if you've got some weak barbed wire fence, it'll grow up in that fence and pull the fence down. So you got to fix your fence. It'll be everywhere. I've got land at home that we've never seeded no pitch on, and now it's 15 to 20% no pitch. because I moved my cows from my milk veg field to that field. And I've been doing it for a number of years now, and now, it's, alfalfa is king and milk veg is queen, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I think from a breeding perspective, we're working on clover. I know most, some Saskatchewan or cow person probably doesn't like red clover that much. But red clover is very important seed crop. It brings almost $20 million of seed revenue, certified seed production revenue for Saskatchewan. So that's one of the reasons I've been call it the under table breeding for 5 years. Now we bring it up and officially doing this breeding on this crop.
Yes, the number one, I'd go for red clover because I love the crop, but you look at it from a soil fertility perspective, if not just for seed production. And even if it doesn't pull up the seed production value, the growers will still leave it in for that fall and work it under and then plant it into wheat, and you really reap the benefits. So I think within the province where we've underserved the clovers for what they can deliver for the soil in combination with annual rotations.
Seeding the wheat behind your clovers really good, depending what they're paying for a protein spread on your grain, but you will, if you had, say, a half section, you had a quarter that was into clover and a quarter that was just regular kernel stubble. If you split it up and you hauled it in, 99% of the time, you're gonna have quite a spread on your protein on where you had your clover seeded the year before.
And Bill's got some awesome breeding lines coming.
Just as an aside, with respect to Sicer milk veg, it's just, people have always said they've had a hard time establishing it. But then just recently, I've had some people actually say that it established and it's getting out of control. It's just taking over everything. So have you ever heard that at all? Or?
If it's in the pasture and it's getting out of control, my cows will look after that part.
Yeah, my cows avoid it, and it's like the plague on our farm. It's getting everywhere to the point it's like I want to start spraying out. Like plug every second nozzle and start spraying. Because our cows won't eat it. And so the soil testing and the soil sampling to see if there was a anti-nutritional piece or a soil piece in it. I said, why do some? It seems like half the cows in this province love it, and half of them hate it. And they were trying to figure out what the difference was, and they couldn't figure it out. So we blame it on picky cows. But I can't even force my cows to eat it. Like even when they're like dense and like putting them in there at different times of years and definitely like I don't know what the deal is, but.
I had one old guy tell me that it'll look pretty good when it's 40 below and the wind's blowing.
I don't want to touch it. Like, yeah.
I've heard that too. So
Yeah.
it's all kinds of mixed stories.
For varietal differences, there were some high hands stuff around in the early 80s that was cited like that.
Nope, this was the opposite. Yeah.
It's the time of year you're trying to use it, Charlotte.
April, May, June, July, August, September, October. Like everything, you know. Will not touch that stuff. What color are they? Yes, they're red. They're like big. I'm black.
I think I'll finish off with one last question here then, and let you guys address this question, and then we'll wrap it up after that. So the question is, provide more funding. Well, I think it's a really, forage is more, for me, it's also important to have public specialists, for example, Saskatchewan forage specialists. That kind of position is also really important.
For the bugs. The bugs in the seed production are the biggest for me.
Do not ever forget, it starts with a seed. 69,000. That's all we have to work with. 90, not 6.9 million. 69,000. That's all we have to work with. Problems other than alfalfa. We have on average 197 growers, 95% of which are in the Northeast. We invest in minor use so that people like Travis can have herbicides and insecticides. That's 38% of our R&D budget. We support with Marianne and with BCRC input on evaluation proposals. We invest heavily in long-term ADF. 25% of our research budget goes to that so that we can support Bill's red clover breeding program. Red clover breeding program of Shano and how we improve the productivity for the farmers and solve production problems.